Hello and welcome to Scrolls. I'm not dead. It's been a while since I've done a video. I hope you all had a good New Year and a good Christmas and a good Scrollsmas. Now this is going to be a news video. I have not nailed down the format just yet, so we'll see where we go. But for now, let's look through the very obvious thing on the front page of Scrolls. Hopefully everyone's seen it by now. Because it's a super lovely, generous gift. And I want everyone to use it, whether they're going to create themselves Smurf accounts, you evil people, or whether they're going to actually give it to their friends so that we can have more players. That would be great. So as of the 18th of December, everyone has been given a free Scrolls code. They can send it to anyone, and it lasts until January 31st, so even though this is a bit of time after the first announcement, I'm still able to give you this announcement, and hopefully you can, do something about it. Send your Scrolls code to your friends, and if you head to scrolls.com, and also there will be a link in the description with the explanation of where you can go to find this stuff. The other thing that changed over Christmas, I don't know how long this will last now, but we had some festive skins. We have Frostbeard with his new fancy hat. We have the Cannon Automaton with its fancy antlers. Wings Shield with its wings. And I know what it is, I just can't remember. Ripper. I could see it in my head, I couldn't remember the name of it, right. So now we have the Frostbeard with his Santa hat, the Cannon Automaton Rudolph Reindeer, combine the two words, Rudeer, with its antlers and its lovely red nose. We have the Wing Shield, which looks beautiful now with its massive wings that cover up the lane behind it, which sort of makes sense considering it's defending it, and its strap-on halo. And the Ripper with its lovely Christmas-themed cloak. These are a lovely addition. Poi, I think Poi did them all, although that's not certain, but she did say she learnt a lot about creating alternate art, so maybe in the future we could see some customised scrolls with different art for events and such. Speaking of events, let's jump over to the ESL stuff. Now then, ESL. There have been plenty of ESL Cups over the past few months, and I feel like by now people will know all about them. So I'm just going to cover the most recent Cup, tournament that's currently going, and the 4 Cups that have been played so far within that. There is the 5th final Cup, which I'll get onto later. This is the All-Stars Cup. The point was to try and get some variation on the usual format of pick-a-deck play, and force people to play different kinds of decks that were resource-specific. This meant that people had to adapt their resource-specific deck to deal with other decks of the same resource. So if there was something Order couldn't play because Decay could kill it easily, maybe it could be used in this tournament. First up was Order, and Magpie Man started off by facing off against the Purple Pansy, then moved on to face Nikovic, then defeated Pew Q in the semi-finals, in order to progress to the finals where he beat Divui. Divui had a bye to begin with, faced off against Pain, faced off against Isuel, played Celtier in the semi-finals, and was defeated by Magpie Man in the finals, coming in second. Very respectable. The third place game was between Celtier and Pew Q won that. Next up was Energy, in which Blinky faced off against Atmaz, then the Purple Pansy, then defeated Colourplant in the semi-finals in order to defeat NRP the Ninja in the finals. NRP the Ninja defeated Hex Neck, Ivalice, Celtier in the semi-finals in order to be defeated by Blinky in the finals, landing him in second place. Very strong effort by both players, congrats to Blinky. Celtier faced off against Colourplant for third place, and Celtier took home the bronze. Next up is Decay. In Decay, Magpie Man played off against La Hopa after his first bye. He defeated him and then went up against I Want a Nick Please, before facing Pew Q in the semi-finals. That's a good list of adversaries for Magpie Man, so congrats to him. And he defeated the Superb Simone in the finals. The Superb Simone defeated Pain, then Orange. It's Orange, but with an extra E, so I'm saying Orange. He defeated Ivalice in the semi-finals, and was unfortunately knocked out by Magpie Man in the finals. Ivalice defeated Pew Q for the third place game. The most recent one, this happened this Sunday. Growth. Magpie Man defeated Oslohund. He defeated the Purple Pansy, and he defeated Blinky in the semi-finals, but was unfortunately knocked out by Pew Q in the finals. Pew Q defeated La Hopa, NRP the Ninja, and the Superb Simone to get where he ended up finally winning. Out of Blinky and the Superb Simone, Blinky was the winner of the third place game. Interestingly, we had 3 Brits in the semi-finals, and none of them won, so good shout, chaps, but you didn't quite get all the way. The upcoming tournament due to hit this Sunday is the Highlander Tournament. Now anyone can enter this. Link will be in the description for the ESL page for those of you interested. For those of you who don't know what Highlander is named because there can only be one. And what that means is you are creating a commander deck from Magic the Gathering, if you need that for a comparison. But you can only have one of each scroll. You still have a 50 scroll deck that you construct, and you still choose what of those 50 scrolls are, but you can't have multiples of the same scroll. That's how Highlander works. Generally, it is a lot slower, and usually it requires a bunch of multi-resource decks. Now, I don't know many people who've been playing around with Highlander. They've had this week to really experiment with it, but it seems like it's going to be one of the more hit-and-miss kind of deck creations. People are going to create what they think is good, throw it out there, and we have no meta for Highlander, so whatever goes, goes, I guess. Those matches are probably going to be quite long, because the restricted amount of consistent good scrolls means that it comes down to luck of the draw a little bit more, but everyone's deck is equally diluted, so who knows. Maybe they'll be shorter, maybe they'll be faster. Chances are they'll probably be a lot longer, though. So that's Highlander. Link is in the description for those of you who want to get involved, and it's the last of the All-Stars tournament, so you're probably not going to get any prizes, but you can see how you do in a Highlander tournament. I recommend just jumping in and giving it a go. I'd give it a go, but I'm going to be busy adminning that tournament, so oh well. So that's it for the ESL information. Let's go over to the Scrolls developer blog. First of all, we have a lovely message from Carnalizer. He's sort of giving some information about how far progress is in the new set Rebellion. It's about 73.3% done, which is not specific at all. So, he does say that a lot of this stuff is going to be dropped on the test server early next week, so depending on how early next week, it'll either be in my next video or the video after. So, hopefully I'll have some good opinions by the time I make the video. I'm not going to make it the second stuff is released like I usually do, because I don't think I'll have time nowadays. Also, some balance changes have happened. These were posted by Mons. These will be dropping on the test server probably about the same time as the new stuff. Return to Nature has had its cost increased to 3. Some good criticism has been created about this change. It needed to happen, or something needed to happen. Return to Nature, cast twice in one turn, can kill so many things, and allow so many things to die from one attack. And sometimes you can cast 3 in one turn, which is a bit ridiculous, giving everything 3 less health and then just ploughing through it. So Return to Nature did need some changing. I don't know if increasing the cost to 3 is good, because it disencourages the multi-resource deck potential that Return to Nature gave. So, cost 3 is a fine move. I think Mon said he was a bit uncertain about that change too. But I understand why that is. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do without creating some ridiculous rule like creatures can't be killed by this, or creatures on 1 health are unaffected, or you can only cast 1 of this per turn, which would make it a unique, and we aren't ready for unique stuff yet. We're not quite in Rebellion just yet. So that change might get some, you know, inquisitions and alterations before it hits the live server. Harvester has had its health decreased from 6 to 4. This I like, because it means Harvester is now a glass cannon. Not quite as much of a glass cannon as the Scattergunner, but the Scattergunner hits nowhere near as hard. So Harvester for 3, 8 health, no, 8 attack, 5 countdown, 4 health. 4 health is good because it means that it's on the same health level as a Kinfolk Veteran, which cost 5. That would probably cost 4 if it wasn't for the haste, so To have a lower health harvester means that you have to look after it and feed it faster if you want it to attack more, which may mean that growth is at less of a disadvantage, because at the moment growth has trouble because they play a lot of weak creatures that can be picked off easily by poison and soulsteel, which gives the harvester this massive opportunity to just charge through everything. With 6 health it's harder to kill it quickly. Now you can kill it with a Kinfolk Veteran and a Ragged Dwarf, so it's an okay change. I'm happy about it because I think it gives growth especially a better chance at coming out, and I think that currently that's a good move, because growth is having probably quite a bit of trouble in the current meta. I don't know if it's the most trouble. I think maybe Go Draw is having the most trouble. It's probably struggling the most. But the meta right now seems to be very decay-centric, and nerfing the Harvester a bit does help with that. Ilmai Tribesman has had his attack decreased. His countdown is still 3, so 2 attack for 3 countdown suddenly seems a lot less worth it, which I think makes sense because it means that his high health, which is 4, is the reason you're still playing him. You get less of an extra benefit for playing a high health thing, as opposed to just playing a high health thing because of its high health and having it attack heavily, because 3 attack is quite heavy. It balances him out better because it means that you're getting the benefit from the high health wall, you're not getting the benefit from the attack necessarily. So I'm okay with that. I think that's an okay change. I don't know if I'd have done it. I didn't feel it was necessary, but maybe they had an internal quirk that they wanted to deal with that guy. Maybe something in Rebellion makes a difference. I don't know. Focus has been mega nerfed. Focus now only works on creatures, which means that mangonel speed focus is a thing of the past. I think that's really good. It means that Order has much more trouble with board sweeping, and Order was hit quite heavily by these nerfs. Growth didn't get nerfed at all, because I don't think there's anything in Growth to nerf currently. I think Nof is... Nof? That's a combination of nerf and growth. I think growth is... I'd say it's... Yeah, I said it was struggling. And I think I'm accurate in saying that. Maybe if the meta wasn't so decay heavy, growth wouldn't need any changes, which might be what they're expecting to be the result of this. So, who knows. Night Scholar has got 5 health now. It's been reduced from 6, and it now costs 4. I'm assuming the reason for this is to make it fit into a curve a bit easier, because 4 cost was the Relentless Ducal unit and the Spiky Ducal unit. Now maybe they won't be in the curve, maybe the 3 cost ones will fit into the curve better, and your 4 health will be your Night Scholar and your Wings Captain. I'm okay with that change. I mean, again, it was not one that I thought was necessary, but if they want to get him played more, it's a reasonable manoeuvre. Wings Captain, no countdown reduction, which was the big deal about Wings Captain. So Wings Captain has just been, like, chopped in half. It's taken away that countdown reduction ability to all soldiers, which I thought was really cool because it was soldier specific. But apparently it was just too powerful. And I mean, it was a must-have scroll. Now maybe it's a bit more of a choice scroll. It gives the move buff that it used to give to all soldiers to itself and all adjacent units, not just the soldiers, which I think's good. I know that I often planned manoeuvres with the Wings Captain as though I could move the Wings Captain twice, and I think move will eventually hit a high point, especially when we have... Oh, never mind, that's not in order. Maybe when you have dual resource decks that have pillage in them, so you jump off to a side and hit an idol, give everything a buff. Maybe. Maybe move will become a thing with Rebellion because of how they're making idol hate a bit more viable. Wings Captain, though, has taken a massive hit from that nerf. I don't know, I think that might be probably one of the bigger changes, is the countdown reduction on Wings Captain, and I don't know how I feel about it. I think maybe it makes sense. Scout Automaton has more health now. It still has its 1 armor, but it has 3 health, so that means it's a lot harder to snipe it off with stuff. I'm okay with that. I think it didn't get played when they first brought it out as much as they probably thought it would, so maybe now Automaton energy can be a thing as part of ranged energy. Because I didn't see it get played much. It used to be the automatons in ranged enemy came from the forge, and the cannons, the scout, never really fit in anywhere. Maybe now it can. Gravelock Outcast has got 3 attack now. The fact that it can heal itself is still something I'm happy with, and I use that a lot in Judgment. Just having a heavily energy deck with a bunch of outcasts and some growth so that you can heal him. That attack might make him a bit more powerful now that you're playing him with your elders. I don't know if the Outcast is going to change much in the meta. I don't think it's going to make everyone suddenly jump into Gravelocks again, because Gravelocks have sort of phased out recently. They're not showing up quite as much. The elders are still there, but the rest of it's dropped. Shush, phone. The rest of the Gravelocks have pretty much dropped out. Dustrun is just better than the Raider. Maybe with Rebellion we'll see some Gravelocks that can take advantage of the buff from Elder, maybe buff some Gravelocks in some other way, I don't know, but I hope to see more Gravelocks soon. Because when they show up, I think Gravelocks will become an archetype, along with Kinfolk Humans will become an archetype, and Kinfolk Beasts will become Kinfolk Beasts? Growth Beasts. I'm rambling just a little bit. Those are my thoughts on those balance changes, and I'll probably let you know my updated opinions after they've gone live and I've looked at them a little bit. Next, I decided I'd just show you a cool tournament that people could get involved in. I thought I'd promote this just because it's for very new players specifically. This cup is called the Bunny Cup. The point is it's for low-ranking players. The admission cost is 500G and the gold gathered is divided as prize money. All participants must pay the entry fee. This is a low-rank event, so you have to be below 1000 rating and less than 300 games played. You can have 0 rating and still enter. This rule is the one I find interesting. Rare scrolls are banned. That means you can't use them at all in your deck. They can't be in there. If you play a rare scroll, you're disqualified. Which I think is a pretty cool rule. It means that players who haven't collected a whole load of rares will not be able to... No, people without rares can enter, and they can enter without fear of being ripped to shreds by God Hands. I find it quite interesting because without God Hands, I wonder how it will affect growth. Like, without Great Walls, in fact, I wonder how it will affect everything. Taking away all the rares. It might make it a really dull match, or it might make it just a very, very casual, closer to Judgment than it is to a normal tournament-type match. I don't know. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see which of these lower-ranked players look through and work out how best to abuse the lack of rares. In order to consider a match valid, one of both players shall post the victory/defeat screen, and there's an example of this, just so players know what they're doing. Participants and public in general will be able to see the progress of the tournament on Challenge. There's a link there. And the prizes, that says prices, but the prizes for first place is 50% of all the gold collected. Second place is 30% of all the gold collected, and third place is 20% for the gold collected. I really like the little bunny art here. I think that's adorable. So yeah, that's a cool tournament for low-ranking and maybe beginner players. Maybe people who've jumped in as of that Christmas giveaway. And I'd like to see what happens with that. I think maybe it will be down to who can abuse the lack of rares the best. Maybe it'll just fall apart because games aren't ending quite so ferociously without these rares blowing stuff up. Who knows? But that could be interesting, and it's there for you low-ranking people. Now introducing the guilds section, I'm going to show you a guild that I think is pretty cool. I'm going to just tell you about it and let people know that it's there. I'm specifically going to target guilds that are advertising applications currently, and also guilds that have cool reasons for their requirements. I'm starting with Strategic Angels. They won the Brag and Brawl, which was a guild-hosted tournament. I can't remember which guild hosted it, but they basically wanted to create a friendly, bragging right to pass around between the guilds. I think the Badger Guild got it the first month, and the second month has been taken by Strategic Angels, which is cool. So you know they mean business, and the goal of this guild is to really charge in and take tournaments by storm. They want to be a top-tier guild that are winning a lot. They want to have players who can learn, because obviously it's going to be a teaching guild. All guilds are going to help each other. So they want to take people who are ranking 1500 and above and turn them into players who can hit up really high in the rankings, maybe help them improve competitively and get involved in things like ESL tournaments. And their requirements are simply that rating thing, that you are a nice, friendly person, and that you play the game at least once a week, so fairly easy to do. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to be harsh and say if you go away on holiday for 2 weeks, or you're ill for a few months, or some really harsh stuff that just puts you out of action for a good while. They're not going to penalise you for that. They just expect to see some commitment. And once you've shown that commitment, I'm sure they'll be a bit more laxed about the one-a-week thing, but they do want these committed players. I wouldn't say, I mean, even they say they're not an elite guild. I was about to say I wouldn't say they're an elite guild. That's why it's 1-500. 1-500 is quite average. And they will even accept certain people who are below 1-500, just as long as they have the correct attitude. They don't care how many members they have, and they're not going to, like, give you, like, assignments and stuff to do. I mean, it's all covered in their guild manifesto as to what they want to do and what they want to become and how they want to treat people. It's a very friendly guild with a competitive edge. I quite like it. I think they're a good guild to watch as well if you're paying attention to the competitive side of things with the ESL. And hopefully people who didn't know about this guild can get involved with it, because I didn't know about it for a while. I didn't find out about it until the ESL Team Cup. That was my first time encountering them, and I was quite impressed. I thought they were doing very well, and I don't know if it was just that their recruitment strategy wasn't quite in your face enough, but they really showed themselves to me, and I acknowledge who they are now, and I think people should go look into them if they're interested in joining a guild. I mean, there is that rating thing where they want you to be close enough to 1-500, but with some work, I think anyone can reach that rating, so hopefully that's useful for someone. Now, with everything out of the way, all covered, I'm done. That's the end of the video. There's no more news stuff coming. It's more of a case of who am I, where am I, and what's happened since I last did videos. I'm now living at university in Stoke, where I'm studying creative writing at degree level, and universities have very thin walls in their accommodation. It is hard for me to find a quiet time to record, and I expected that to be the case. That's why I didn't take my mic. I didn't expect to need it, I didn't expect to want it, but really I did miss it. I missed doing these videos, and I am very busy with course stuff, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do once a week a news video covering everything that's been announced or happened in the last week. And I mean, ESL are doing a tournament every single week, so I'll have something to talk about even if it's just that. Maybe I'll start covering the top 10 Scrolls players and changes, but for the most part I'm just going to stick to this sort of stuff. Showing people new guilds, showing people small tournaments, and also promoting the ESL big tournaments, because they need to pick up. If they can pick up, this can become a real competitive game. So that's why I've not been recording. I went off on a tangent. That's why I wasn't recording, but I'm going to take my mic with me. I'm going to get this once a week video done, and hopefully I can do it on a Monday night when everyone's not drinking, so the place will be kind of quiet. I can get a lot of stuff done without being interrupted. Like right now, it is 2:15. I'll probably be when I'm recording when I'm at uni, so hopefully the video will be up every Tuesday and everyone can find out about the Scrolls news. I don't expect to cover stuff people don't know about. Maybe it's a video that will appeal mainly to the casual Scrolls players who are just sort of looking to find out a brief overview of all the news that's gone on, all the nerfs and buffs and changes and releases and all that kind of stuff, because I want to keep people informed on everything that comes out in the week. Hopefully it's an interesting format. Please let me know if you think I should change anything, reorder anything, add anything, remove anything. And if you think the idea is completely stupid and I shouldn't do any more, fine, let me know. Just post in the comment section with what you thought, and we'll see if this show can get off to something. Otherwise I'll have to think up another idea, so it might be a little while before I do another video. Either way, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.